Coming to you live from the Chamber of Hunters Studios, this is Haunting You. I am your host, Leslie Reed.
And I'm Keoni Hutton. Welcome back to the Haunting You podcast, everyone. I wish you could have heard Leslie trying to do the introduction just now. It was like listening to someone trying to do tongue twisters. It was wonderful. I enjoyed it a lot, yes.
I can do tongue twisters better than that, apparently.
She sells seashells by the seashore.
Rubber baby buggy bumpers, rubber baby buggy bumpers, rubber baby buggy bumpers.
Peter Picker.
Peppers.
I can usually do that one great. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. There we go.
If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, how many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick?
Where are the pickled peppers that Peter Piper picked? Nobody knows. I like that answer.
What else are you going to do with a pint of
bunch of pickled peppers? Seriously. I mean, that's why I pickle peppers, so I can eat them later. Be reasonable.
Exactly.
Welcome, everyone, to the Haunting You podcast, where we are all about pickled peppers and clearly nothing else. That is our sole reason for being.
Pretty much.
If you're a new listener, don't believe me. We're actually here for Halloween things. I promise. Don't judge us based on the pickled peppers. Although, if you want to judge us on the pickled peppers, come over. I'll let you try some of my pickled peppers. They are phenomenal, especially the spicy rosemary pickled peppers. Oh yeah, they're good.
Very nice. And if you really want, to lean into the pickled pepper thing, let us know, and we'll start posting pickled pepper recipes to our website.
We can, you know what? We can flex. We can flex to help meet your needs. And if your haunted house needs involve pickled peppers, we are here to support. That is what the Haunting You podcast is all about. We are about helping you make the best haunted house, the best home haunt that you can. So if that involves pickled peppers, let us know. We're happy to assist.
More power to you.
Absolutely happy to assist.
Okay, with that silliness out of the way, we are going to move on from there.
Indeed. We are super excited to be back into some sort of, I'm going to say regularity, perhaps might be the right word. Although we're only 2 episodes in, so I don't know. 2 episodes are not a trend. We're making a line here, but we don't yet have enough for a trend. So keep your fingers crossed that we're able to maintain. We'll see what happens. But in the meantime, we are starting our prep for Halloween 2024. And we'll dive into that. But before we do, there's a pretty serious topic happening in the industry right now that we feel we need to address. I have been very deliberate in not talking about Russ McKamey for years because in my mind,
he is not representative of what we in the haunting industry are all about.
Well, that, and he does not deserve the airtime.
That too.
And there's a part of me that feels really dirty devoting any kind of airtime, but we need to address these latest allegations. So, a little bit of background. Russ McKamey is the owner of a experience called the McKamey Manor. He advertises it as the most extreme haunted house in the country, possibly world. And many in the haunted attraction industry take issue with that because what he does is not a haunted house. And calling it a haunted house just absolutely puts a black eye on everybody else who is working in the industry.
It does the way that he runs his experience, which is how we will be referring to it, or his attraction, is very damaging to the haunt industry, very damaging to people who want to come out and have a good time. It is, and it has been, a lightning rod of controversy that, again, he capitalizes on to bring in people to his attraction.
Well said. Well said. He ran McKamey Manor when he was living in San Diego. I cannot tell you much about the experience except that it was touted as the most extreme haunted house, and it basically put people through a level of torture inside that experience. And there are numerous documentaries now that are trying to kind of bring light to the
Abuses.
I'm going to say potential crimes that he committed in operating that attraction. It got worse after he left San Diego, moved to Tennessee, and started operating this experience at his own home. And a YouTuber called Reckless Ben did a series of videos kind of showing what happens at McCamey Manor, and basically completely debunking the idea that there even is a haunted house or even a location beyond Russ McCamey's backyard where he puts you into a small cage and waterboards you with a woolly pulley, mully pulley pulls over your head, like, and making you do the kind of PT that I had to do at 6 o'clock in the morning when I was going through Swab Summer, which is the Coast Guard Academy's version of basic training. Like, what he was showing was a lot of calisthenics followed by some light waterboarding and carrying really heavy things around, and then being verbally abused by Russ and his partner while going through all of this. That series of videos and a couple other documentaries that came out as well actually caused, cause might be too strong a word, but shortly thereafter, the Tennessee Attorney General opened a investigation into the practices at McCamey Manor, accusing them of fraud and threatening to shut them down. Russ McCamey then countersued the government, claiming violation of constitutional rights. And all of that is pending. In the midst of that, just within the last couple of weeks, Russ McCamey was arrested for domestic abuse, sexual assault, and probably a few other charges that have not yet come through. So I just want to read a little bit of this article from WKRN, which is a local news source in Nashville, Tennessee. There is a link to it in the show notes, so you can find the whole thing. But this was written by Sierra Rains and published on July 22nd. The owner of a Middle Tennessee haunted attraction, do not like the use of the word haunted attraction in this article, known for its intense...
It is what he has been claiming.
It is what he has been claiming.
The utilization of it does acknowledge that this is what he claims, and this is the basis of what the Attorney General has also formed their lawsuit on, is the claim that this is a haunted attraction, and whether or not the activities that go on to people who visit actually allows it to qualify as such. So, no, we do not believe it's a haunted attraction, but I do give credit to the author, to the journalist, for stating it as such, because that is the basis of one of the bases of the Attorney General's lawsuit.
Fair. Back to the article. The owner of a Middle Tennessee haunted attraction known for its intense scare tactics has been charged with attempted second-degree murder, rape, and domestic assault. Court records from the Lawrence County Sheriff's Office shows Russ Allen McCamey was arrested at his Summertown home on Friday, July 19th, after allegedly assaulting his girlfriend. He was booked into jail on a $1,000 bond in order to have no contact with the victim. However, more charges have since been filed against the McCamey Manor owner, accusing him of trying to kill his girlfriend on more than one occasion. I'm not going to read what exactly he is accused of because it gets fairly graphic and I do not want to trigger anyone. But the additional charges now put his bond over $100,000.
You do the math.
Exactly.
Really? Second-degree murder attempt and it's only $1,000?
$100,000.
Well, it started out as 1,000.
It did. That was before the second-degree murder attempt.
Okay.
Or charge.
Okay. It's like, I know Tennessee is special, but I didn't think they were that special.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a significant issue, which is the one and only reason that we are mentioning it on the podcast, because it is, again, it's a highly significant event that has happened within our community and with somebody who has done damage to what our community stands for.
And not just that, but also, like, everyone deserves the opportunity to be innocent until proven guilty. But that being said, the long history of Russ McCamey destroying people's lives through what he was billing as entertainment just seems like such a lead up to these events. For years, he has been allowed to do morally questionable things in the name of entertainment. And I can't help but feel that allowing that to go on as long as it has led to this.
When someone tells you who they are, believe them. And his actions have told the industry exactly who he is.
The world.
And this is where we are now.
So, couple of thoughts. One, if you were ever a victim of Russ McCamey, or honestly a victim of anyone else, please, you do not have to bear that burden alone. There are a multitude of resources available to help you through it. I will post a couple of them in the show notes. If you have ever been subjected to domestic violence or sexual assault, or really just need an opportunity to talk with someone, reach out, because you do not have to face it alone, and you should not have to face it alone.
And you are not alone.
You are not alone. If worse comes to worse, reach out to us. We will talk to you.
Happily, because again, you're not alone.
So let's move on to a happier topic, because Russ McCamey deserves no more of our airtime.
Nope.
We want into indeed. We want to dive in to our planning for Halloween 2024.
Which we've been teasing you about, and whether or not we're going to do something or not going to do something, or maybe do something, but maybe not do something because we're just moving in, but then we're renovating, but then we're across the country and we really aren't sure what we're going to do. So we're finally going to tell you what we're going to try and do. And once again, you are along for the ride wherever the hell this takes.
Well said. We are still struggling with many of the challenges with many of those same challenges. We still do not have the electrical permit from the county, and so work still not proceeded. Here we are 2 weeks later. I just had to extend the storage for our household goods. So at this point, I'm not sure when we are going to be getting all of our stuff. And the big thing for me and this is all of my tools are in there, except for, the toolbox I brought with me across the country in case I had minor issues with the car.
You must be going through withdrawal.
I'm actually, you want to know how I'm handling this? I had a really good friend at the Coast Guard Academy who I haven't seen in 14 years, basically since we left, just about. And just turns out that she's also assigned to headquarters the same time I am. So we've got to reconnect and been catching up, and I'm borrowing tools from her, honestly. Who
is it? Yeah, who
Crackers.
Is it?
Crackers.
Oh my goodness, tell Crackers I said hi.
I will. So that is what I am doing. I've got her chop saw to loan me a circular saw so that I could do some counter work in my laundry room. I'm doing what I have to continue moving forward in the face of county delays. Let's put it that way.
Oh man, Crackers is awesome.
Yeah, she is awesome, and I'm super excited that we're assigned in the same place for the first time in our careers, because it's been a lot of fun catching up and reconnecting. So I'm hurting, is what I'm saying. It's kind of where I'm going with all of this. But I still want to try to move forward and do something for this year. So I think we plan to do our ghost stories and do a multimedia display, and if giant asterisk, if we happen to get the rest of our household goods in early October and I have the month to put together a haunted house, we can do that. We can attack a micro haunt then. But for now, I think we just focus on the multimedia display because the timeline is just not looking good.
But as many of you know, what we can do with the multimedia display is impressive.
I like to think so. So let's back up almost 4 years. In fact, we're going to back up a little. We're going to back up about 4 years here to the summer of 2020. We had on Spencer Terry, who was and is the president of the Haunted Attraction Association, to talk, because he's also the general manager of Fear Factory in Salt Lake City, Utah. But we had him on in the summer of 2020 because Fear Factory kind of took the lead for the entire haunted attraction industry and put together a plan and guidelines for operating a haunt in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. And as I'm sure all of you remember very vividly, there was so much there were so many unknowns in the summer of 2020 that many people did not feel comfortable trying to even trick or treat, much less go to haunted houses that year. And us being brand new home haunters in the area, and I'm going to say resource constrained.
Yeah,
that's a good word for it, right?
Not and
broke.
You may
broke
not.
much. Layla's
attempting to climb under my desk, which usually results in her breaking my internet again.
Yes, please don't do that, Layla. We went through that enough last time. So because we were resource constrained, we also did not feel comfortable trying to put together a full walkthrough haunt. And so instead, we used the summer of the Halloween of 2020 to tell the backstory of the haunt that we wanted to build the next year. And what we came up with, I think, is kind of cool.
I agree. It was a lot of lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. So I built the largest foam facade that I have built to date. It is 14 feet high, 15 feet wide, and was the entrance to a crypt. And it was the front of, a crypt facade. Placed it inside of a graveyard. And then inside the door of the crypt, we projected ghosts using hallusions and had the ghosts tell the story of how they died. And we hit 4 different time periods with these ghosts, and each one encountered the same malevolent spirit that has been inhabiting the land where Sanguine Creek Estates is built for hundreds, thousands of years. We really haven't established how long it has been there, but it's been a long time.
It's been there.
It's been there. And it has and in every generation, it has infected a person, and that person ends up doing great harm in that area. We were then able to take that backstory and apply it to the haunted house that we built in 2021, where Dr. Samuel Christopher Edwards, who just conveniently has the same initials as Sanguine Creek Estates.
It's like we planned this
Dr. Samuel Edwards was trying to find cures for various diseases and was experimenting on the patients in his hospital built here at the estate. And some of those experiments went awry, as they tend to do, that and ended up basically taking asylum patients and turning them into some form of zombie. And Dr. Edwards, in his
infinite wisdom,
I wasn't even going to say infinite wisdom, in his drive for more power and more control and unable to be satiated, was infected with this malevolent spirit that transformed him into a Wendigo. And so at the end of the haunt, at the beginning of the haunt, guests are welcomed into the asylum by Dr. Edwards, but by the end of the haunt, he has transformed into the Wendigo, and the guests meet the Wendigo version of Dr. Edwards as they are being chased out of the asylum. And I had so much freaking fun putting together that haunt and running that haunt. It was a freaking blast. It ended up being something like 1,900 square feet of interior haunted house, and then a good 1,000 feet of walking outside on top of it. And for a home haunt, that was freaking amazing.
we did. It was impressive.
It was impressive, and I love it. So I want to keep building on that, because it was such a cool storyline. No one else anywhere has done something like it. And I think we can keep, if we keep this whole, the malevolent spirit of Sanguine Creek alive, then that gives us opportunities every year to tweak what the haunted house is like, so long as we're constantly bringing back this spirit that is the ultimate bad guy.
Yeah,
And that is our continuity.
we have centuries of options
Exactly.
to choose from, and adding new ghosts, taking out ghosts. Each of the ghosts can be the basis for a haunt. They can be cameos in a haunt. There's one of the things that so many haunts struggle with is changing things up and trying to decide, do we keep it the same? Do we change everything? What's our new theme? What's our new approach? And how to try and tie everything together so that way when people come back year after year, there's some consistent threads that help tie everything together. And
Exactly.
I feel that one of the things that we have done very successfully is create a framework in which we can haunt any decade, any century, any type of locale. Want to do a haunted zoo? Cool. Some rando built a zoo on the property at some point in the 1850s. Cakewalk. Oh, hey, we want to do a circus? Well, 1930s roustabout, Depression era circus. Great. We can work with that. All of these things we have the ability to play with because of the story structure that we have created.
Exactly. Exactly. So what I want to do for this year, because we really are not going to be, because I'm worried we will not be able to do a big build. And I mean, and I know we won't be able to do a big build, but even a minor build,
A build.
I want to focus on creating more of those stories. So let's take a look at the Hunting You method for a second. The Hunting You method is a 3-phase breakdown of the method that we have kind of developed while creating our haunts. And this is what we use to guide ourselves and tailor ourselves, well, guide ourselves and constrain ourselves as we are developing a haunt every year. If you go on to our website, huntingyou.com, just the letter U, and click on the Hunting You method tab at the top, it will take you to a breakdown of that method. And so today I want to take a look at the planning phase and kind of walk through the planning phase steps for Halloween 2024. So first and foremost, defining goals. What is the goal that we want to achieve with Halloween 2024? And I think there's a couple of goals that we have here for this year. First, we want to get our name out there, which will allow us to build the audience within Southern Maryland. And
well, I think not just get our name out there, but get our name back out there.
Back out there is accurate. We do have a bit of a following on social media, but it's not a huge following. The last time we ran this haunt, we had, what was it, 500 people in 2 days, which is solid. Don't get me wrong, but I think we can do better. So we want to grow that audience, I think is kind of our first goal. Secondly, we want to build on our backstory so that we have more storylines that we can draw from as we're putting together the haunt in the future. We can keep coming back to these stories, like Leslie said, and using those to help us focus our efforts in the future. So get our name out there, build the audience, widen our storyline, and then, of course, because this is what kind of one of the big things that we like to do with our haunts is give back to our local community. And we have an established partnership here in Southern Maryland with the Southern Maryland Food Bank. And what we have done in the past was collect canned goods from people who came to see the haunt. And I would love to do that again so that we can continue supporting our community in that way. I don't know how much of this is going to get cut out, so this may be a really awkward segue. But Leslie was digging back through her notes and found the backstory we made for one of our characters who is a patient in the asylum who thinks that she is a porcelain doll. And it was a very effective room. Just the room was covered in dolls, and the porcelain doll herself was like locked up in a full-size doll box, and she would burst out of the box and try to kill the people who as they came through. All of that is irrelevant to where I wanted to go with this. I have to talk real quick about the southeastern Pennsylvania Halloween flea market.
Ooh, yes.
Which was a lot of fun. First of all, there were some really cool vendors there, and I will check out our social media, particularly Instagram at Haunting University, because that's where I was putting most of the stuff that I was creating there. But if you're in the area, you love Halloween, you have to go to the Southeastern Pennsylvania flea market. Halloween flea market. It was a combination of professional vendors selling their wares, and I got some really cool stuff, especially from like one of my favorites was from a crafter called Bonehead Factory. I'll put a link to his website in the show notes, who makes just the coolest freaking jack-o'-lanterns that are just absolutely freaking amazing. Like I've never seen anything quite like them anywhere.
Those were awesome. Oh my god. I remember you sent us the picture. I was like, I want stormtrooper pumpkins.
The stuff this guy creates are just absolutely freaking wild. He had 2 pumpkins that were Star Wars based, and it was basically Darth Vader and a stormtrooper. They're absolutely wonderful. I love them. I had to buy one. Absolutely fantastic. Another one, Corpse Creations, was there selling a variety of corpsed animal like skeletons. They had like animals and people skeletons. I see bats, spiders, dogs, demons, just all wolves, goat, all kinds of things that were pre-corpsed for you, so you don't have to do the work yourself. But then there were also just random Halloween people who had stuff they wanted to move their display into a different direction, and so they were trying to get rid of some props that they knew they weren't going to use and get some money to buy props that they do want to use. I was actually one of those. I took stupid ass clown prop that I absolutely despise, sold it for $200 and bought a coffin with it. Like full size metal coffin. Absolutely thrilled with that purchase. I'm so freaking excited. But I had a lot of fun. If you were at the Southeastern Pennsylvania Halloween flea market, I hope I got a chance to chat with you. I talked with a ton of people, gave out a ton of business cards, and we've had a few listens since then. So I think some people at least found our conversation interesting. But for future years, go check out the Southeastern Pennsylvania Halloween Flea Market Facebook page to stay up on when they're going to be doing it next year. They do it once a year, usually in late July, August timeframe. Well worth the trip. I drove 3 hours to get there, and it was well worth the trip. But back to our main topic.
Yes, we have those. Sometimes we even remember that we have those.
Sometimes, occasionally. So we defined our goals. We know what we're trying to accomplish with this year. Identify audience. Who is our target audience, Les?
I would say in this case, our target audience is definitely families, particularly those doing kind of a trunk or treating type of Halloween, and anybody who wants to come by and walk around a site. Wow, I have no words. Once again,
that doesn't happen to you very often.
No, it doesn't. That tells you exactly how my month's been.
Yeah.
So
I think you hit it on the head. Like
case,
we're
really
targeting families. We are targeting families this year, which is a little bit different when we're building the haunt. But we want Halloween lovers to come out and we want to entertain them. So families, I think, are our primary audience, and anyone else who gets a kick out of it as well, great. That's a win.
Yeah.
Okay. Theme and backstory are the next 2 steps of the planning phase. And we've talked about this significantly already about, our theme is, how would you describe our theme? Like the theme of the haunt was asylum/zombie, asylum into zombie. That's not quite where we're going this year though.
No, no, we've got a slightly different kind of approach because of how we're setting it up.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that in mind, and just kind of in that contemplation of how we're doing it, I think really in this case, we're doing a haunted estate.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. This is going to be a little more like haunted housey ghost, like ghost haunted housey theme than what we did last year. Yeah. And even like haunted graveyard, I think
Yeah,
could be,
haunted
could sum
graveyard,
it up.
haunted estate, really. So it's there's a house that's obviously you guys are going to make your house look haunted, assuming you can get your stuff out of
Oh,
haunt.
it'll be haunted no matter what.
At the very least, you can put sheets on your children and have them run around and put a sheet over Sky and have her really run around and be confused and bored.
Yeah, exactly.
Sky. Give her pets for me. I do love her.
Uh,
But we'll have the graveyard set up, we'll have the ghost stories, and depending if we really want to get creative, depending on how much capacity you have and technology, I
Uh-oh.
think it might I know, I'm so unhelpful. It might be kind of cool if we could pull it off, and if by we I mean you, if we did a couple of like one or two ghosts along your property line, not just within the graveyard.
I 100% agree with you. So the way my yard is set up, and we're at the end of a cul-de-sac, and as you're driving down the cul-de-sac, we're on the left-hand side, right at the end where it bulges for the turnaround. And the way I intend to set up and have set up, the last two times we did this was we had the graveyard and the crypt right up there right next to the road. And my driveway comes down from the road, goes in front of the house, and then over to the side of the garage. And that's where I store like my trailer. And there's a shed over there. And that was the main area that we built for 2021. But so most of the people, so people will be staying up on the street for the most part. Cars will not be allowed to come down. They'll be able to see the crypt up there by the road. But next to the house, there is a big open area of grass that we have not we've used a little bit, set up like static displays of skeletons doing things, for instance, but like it's a big dark area. There are no lights there. There's no spillage from like even the house, and we could very easily put some ghosts in there.
Mhm.
Something I have been wanting to try that I keep seeing videos of is chicken wire ghosts.
Ooh, my neighbor's done those.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like I've never tried them, but the videos I see online look super freaking cool. And considering I have this big dark space that we could pepper a couple of ghosts through, I think that could be freaking sick.
Yeah. I think so too. Yeah, they've got a handful that they set up every year. And at night when they're all lit up, they're solid.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely I've done a double take a couple of times.
Yeah, so I think you're right. Like if we're gonna be leaning into the haunted estate, we need to haunt the crap out of our estate.
Yep.
We need a lot more ghosts. So I'm going to be bringing in lots of projector effects. We can put stuff in all of the windows. We can put stuff in, the crypt, obviously, and then we could do a couple of halogens in the yard as well. Chicken wire ghosts to fill it out, and just get ghosts absolutely freaking everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. So next step, create a backstory. We've already got our backstory. The backstory is well established. We've talked about it extensively, even in this episode. I'm not going to go into it anymore. We have our malevolent spirit. Create a budget.
Our budget is $5.
I hate this one. So here is the Keoni Hutton theory of budgeting.
Shall we discuss what your current job is?
My current job is be in the Coast Guard. And for the last 2 years, because I was assigned to a ship, I did a very poor job of building out a revenue stream for that was able to support the haunt. So we lost a lot of, we didn't really lose money over the last 2 years, but we didn't bring in any money either. And that's hurting us a little bit right now.
Again, like I said, our budget is $5.
Exactly.
Get us
exactly.
about a couple feet of chicken wire.
So what I need to start doing is bringing in money here that we can then put toward the haunt. In the past, I have done that by like reselling stuff from estate sales, or well, pimping myself out as a handyman to the local arcade, which is I'm actually meeting with him on Tuesday to discuss more pimping myself out. So there is potential for revenue streams coming in here shortly, but we don't have them established yet. In general, I try to I don't usually set a budget like this is all I am able to afford for this year. I do something more like this is what I think I need to spend in order to do this effectively. And then at the end of the year, I compare to our initial budget and say, wow, marketing cost a lot more than I expected it to this year. We need to take that into account next year and plan for it. Leslie's laughing at me because she is a finance professional and has a very different opinion than I do.
Not necessarily. There's definitely I'm budgeting for a company in which we're for profit and I answer to higher powers than family.
I would say the only higher power I answer to is my wife, and she tends to be at least somewhat understanding.
Yes. She's amazing. But again, yes, there's many different ways to budget. The way I usually budget for my job is slightly different than the way I would budget for, say, putting together a haunt. It's also about, for me, who you work with. Kay does not budget the way that I would for a business. But he's also the one who's exactly. He's also the one who's doing most of the spending, money making, and everything else, and I'm here in an advisory capacity. So
that's true. You need to start bringing in funding for this.
Okay, I'll see what I can't do. Pick myself out as an accountant. Somehow I don't think that's going to work so well.
Yeah.
But that said, it's also about working with your team. If you're somebody who's very, very numbers oriented, but nobody else in your team is, you're going to want to compromise and you're going to need to compromise to make sure that the numbers that you're working with, you can then put those in a way that is functional for others and also make sure that everybody understands where the boundary lines are and what the goals are.
Yeah. I like that. So that's really all I want to say on budget. Use budget in whatever way is most effective for you, I think is the big takeaway here. And I will continue to ignore it because that is effective for me.
I know.
Before we get to the last two parts of the planning phase, let's take a quick moment, hear from our sponsors, and then we will talk about marketing and designing our layout. Oh my God, Leslie, did you see any of the coverage out of D23 this weekend?
This weekend or last weekend?
This weekend.
No. I've literally been half asleep all weekend.
I'm not surprised. So, big things. Live action Lilo and Stitch is coming, and they showed Stitch. I'll send you a video. They showed Stitch up on the screen. They did him justice. He is phenomenal. I love it.
Who's playing Nani?
I don't know. It was just release dates.
Oh, okay. Because I watched the trailer for it was Agatha all along.
That looks so good too. I'm excited.
And I watched the trailer for Skeleton Crew.
Yes.
And I watched the trailer for Moana 2.
Yes. So you did get some of the coverage.
I was on Disney this morning trying to figure out what to watch, and I was like, "Oh, new things."
All of that was announced at D23.
Yeah.
So beyond that, they announced expansions to the theme parks.
Ooh,
They're getting a Cars Land at Walt Disney World that's
nice.
different from Radiator Springs at Disneyland. So like a whole new land set in the
Oh,
world of Cars,
okay.
which I'm kind of excited about.
Are they gonna pull from movie 2 or 3, or just completely
Not
create
not
from
clear.
new?
Not clear. Some
Okay.
of the like concept art they were showing was like, I don't know if you remember during the credits of Cars when they were showing kind of like what all of the characters from Radiator Springs are doing after they start getting
Oh, I got
people coming through
my
again.
rims.
Yes,
Gotta give me 20 miles.
that's exactly where I was going with this. Like some of the concept art looked like it was some off-roading type stuff with SUVs, and
Oh,
I
that's
don't know where it's
hilarious.
gonna go, but I'm kind of excited about it.
It's just one of my, honestly, out of that entire movie, that's one of my favorite lines. Now I got my rims.
More
That's
than
what I
that,
think of anytime I see one of those absurd trucks.
reasonable,
It's like,
reasonable. But Les, you're gonna freak out about this. They're building a Monsters Inc. land at Disney World. They are going to have. They're going
gonna make
to
me
put
spend
in
money in
there
Florida
the first hanging under roller coaster that Disney has done, like below the track,
for the doors.
for the doors. Yes.
God, that's gonna be so cool. You're gonna make me spend money in Florida.
I know. But
Ah,
wait, I'm not done. They're also building an entire land devoted to villains. Oh, yes. I am so excited.
At World.
It sounds like
At,
both. I
oh,
think both.
okay. So clearly, what we need to do
Road trip.
is do an extended family road trip.
Wait, it gets better. Actually, not. So that's what Disney's doing. Are you following what Universal's doing?
No, I think I've seen some
Oh
rumblings, but I haven't really
my
been tracking it.
God. In Florida, they have two theme parks, right?
Hmm.
And in those theme parks, well, they have two theme parks already. They are building a third.
Okay.
It is called Epic Universe. Epic Universe is going to contain 4 lands. One land is nothing but classic movie monsters.
Yes, I know. I've heard that they were doing something with that.
One land is Burke from How to Train Your Dragon. And the video, like, I keep seeing people filming parts of construction for this. They were testing flying dragons.
How lovely. I'm gonna have to fucking spend money in Florida.
They're
Okay, but yeah.
doing a third Harry Potter park in Epic Universe. So they've got Hogsmeade
Mm-hmm.
in one park. They have
Right.
Diagon Alley in another, and you can actually board the Hogwarts Express to go back and forth between the two of them, and it's phenomenal.
That's awesome.
Now they're doing a third part of it, and there's going to be an entire ministry. Like I think it's going to be the Ministry of Magic. There is a ride all about the Ministry of Magic where Dolores Umbridge is being put on trial for her crimes after Voldemort's fall, and she escapes. And there's a huge battle inside the Ministry of Magic, and we are there in the midst of it, riding the elevators through the battle at the Ministry of Magic.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm trying to figure. I'm trying to remember what. And then Super Nintendo World. They're putting Nintendo World there as well,
Nice.
which they opened that at Hollywood, and we went to it, and it's one of the most interactive lands that I have ever seen. So,
Okay.
like, we bought the kids these wristbands, and then they can go around punching question mark blocks and collecting coins, and there are all of these challenges spread throughout that you have to complete in order to collect keys. And once you've collected 3 keys, you can actually unlock Bowser Jr.'s castle, go in and face off against Bowser Jr. in this absolutely freaking ridiculous motion capture experience. Like you're standing you're standing in a giant room with all of you arrayed in front of this giant screen, and there are cameras that track your movements. And so stuff Bowser Jr. pops up on the screen, and you have to dodge the stuff that he's throwing at you while collecting power-ups. And eventually you get a flower and you get fireballs, and you start throwing fireballs at him. And you're doing it. It's using the motion capture to follow you as you're doing it. It is so much freaking fun.
That's awesome. Oh my God.
And then the freaking Mario Kart ride is ridiculous. They put you inside of these cars, and then you put a visor, like a augmented reality visor, over your eyes that shows everything that's going on. You collect turtle shells and you can shoot them at the other guys. You're collecting coins through all of this, and it is so much freaking fun. Holy shit.
Awesome.
We just had this whole conversation on the break, but I'm going to have to incorporate all of this now into the freaking episode.
Yes, I was going to bring us back with, now after that very long word from our wonderful sponsors, we're back on track.
This is the conversation we're going to have as we come back. That's what's going to end up happening after I've edited all of this.
Yeah.
So absolutely freaking enormous news coming out of the entertainment industry right now, and I'm so freaking excited for it.
Yeah, that's just delightful.
But Villain Land? Oh my God, I want a Villain Land.
Oh,
I can't wait to see what comes of it.
Yeah, that's just gonna be awesome. Like, oh man.
But we've now wasted, I don't know, the last 10 or 15 minutes talking about this, and we should probably get back on topic so we can finish our topic and finish out this podcast for today.
On topic? On topic. On it.
Don't hurt yourself.
I don't know what that means.
I know. It's okay. But we're going to talk about marketing here for a few minutes.
So basically what they've been doing.
Basically what they have been doing, but we're probably not going to market it the same way they did, because we can't afford to bring hundreds of thousands of people together and show them what we intend to do. Instead, we need to get our word out in some other ways. And so I think we have some steps that we need to complete here. We have had, I think, we have been fairly successful in using like yard signs to point people in, grabbing random people off the street and say, hey, go check out this haunted house, just by carefully positioning them on the roads leading into my neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And I think that has been fairly successful, and I intend to do that again. We should also bring back the website, because the website did such a good job of answering people's questions before they could even ask the questions, which is generally my goal.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. Minimize questions by having everything be
clear. Having as many answers put out there as possible. Yep. I think, though, because I didn't log into Ucraft, which was the website builder that I used because it was free and let me use my own domain. I think because I haven't logged into that in 2.5 years, I think they disabled my account because the SCE website is gone.
Ruh-roh.
I still own the domain, but the website itself is gone. So that's going to have to be created from scratch again, which is a little unfortunate.
Yeah.
But doable. It's unfortunate, but doable. So yard signs, website, and then I think Facebook groups are the third way that have been fairly successful. Mm-hmm. I'm a member of several community Facebook groups, as well as like Nextdoor, and those are all good ways of getting people in the local area to pay attention to what we're doing. So any other thoughts on marketing?
I think, again, let's capitalize on what we have, capitalize on the following that we've already built, having done SCE there for a couple of years previously, and really highlighting the we're back. And I think that's going to be very, very effective for us.
Yeah, I agree. So I think that'll be kind of our 3-prong approach: yard signs, Facebook, and community groups specifically, and then the website itself. which we can point everybody to from all those other ways. Here's all the information that you could need. And the nice thing about the website is we can put here's what's happening this year and where we intend to go in the future. Help us get there.
Yeah.
By supporting us, by coming and giving us food for.
And again, highlighting, and that would be the other thing is see if there's anything that we can do with the Southern Maryland Food Bank to work with them and see what marketing they can help with.
Yeah. If they can put our word out as well.
Hey, here's a group that's supporting us. Go check them out. Bring food, donations. Everything will come back to us. Something fun to do with your family and friends on Halloween.
Exactly. Love it.
So it's not just that we are giving back to them, but we're also working with them to ultimately mutually beneficial, but also really to benefit them as we rebuild this relationship and rebuild the haunt.
Yep. Exactly. So the last step of the planning phase is design a layout. And that's less important this year since we're not, building a walkthrough or anything like.
Well, but we still need to have, we don't need a layout in the traditional sense of here's the room, here's what's first, here's what's second, here's the scares. But we should have, and we should build out a layout that is all about
here's what's happening in different parts of the estate.
And here's what we need to have built, or here's the tech that we need to have for each of these different parts in order to make it work. So it might not be a layout in the term of a walkthrough, but you still want to have defined places and activities going on in each of those locations, and preferably have them tied together in a way that there is still a flow. So you can't have people just kind of wander around aimlessly, but if they want to try and, follow the story, as it were, having that kind of built in as you walk down here. And that's also how you can set up kind of your arrows lighting the way, or like lit paths or things like that.
That's an excellent point. And I met someone very cool a couple years ago when I first went to Fear Expo, but he had a brand new product this year that I bought and I'm excited that I want to incorporate.
Do tell.
Okay, so I met Nathan, and the first time I met him a couple of years ago, he was trying to sell these event packages for, like, if you wanted to set up a Halloween fair or a Christmas fair. It's basically everything you need to do that. Here's your materials list. Here's all of the graphics and media that you would need to do this, and all you have to do is take the materials list, go buy the materials, and set it up. Everything was designed to be like under a 10 by 10 pop-up tent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, that's super cool. It makes it very easy for someone like me breaking into the industry to set up something fairly extensive, more extensive than I would be able to do just on my own.
Right.
This year, though, he had something new, and I'm kind of excited about it. It's called Terror Tap, and you can find out more about it at terrortap.com. It's actually, they have a special going on until August 15th. This is coming out on August 15th, so that's not going to be very helpful to people. But go check out terrortap.com anyway.
We can tease it in social media.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. The cool thing about this so what he showed me and what I bought at Fear Expo was a ghost hunting game. And so it uses your phone, and it comes with, I think there were 8 or 9, like, what's that plasticky cardboard kind of material? It's a little bit more waterproof. You use it or I always use it for like doing displays for the science fair.
Poster board?
It might just be poster board, but it's
poster board's usually the cardboard, but you can get it in the plastic.
But it's a plasticky version.
Corrugated,
like it's a plasticky corrugated
plastic.
Yeah, exactly. Like a corrugated plastic. Corrugated plastic, something like that. Anyway, he made ghosts out of these corrugated plastic and embedded in each one I don't know what to call them, but you scan it with your phone just
QR
by
code.
holding. It's not a QR code. It uses the same technology as, like, if you're doing paying with your phone at a kiosk.
Oh, Bluetooth chip.
It's probably some kind of Bluetooth chip or something like that. But you scan it with your phone, and then it pops up a video that's on the internet that shows that you've captured this ghost, and it gives you a clue for you're trying to unscramble a secret code, and each ghost that you catch gives you more hints toward this code.
Okay.
The cool thing about it is you don't have to download anything on your phone because it's all web based. All you're doing is scanning each of these things. It takes you to the appropriate website based on that scan. You've captured and it tells you captured the ghost. Here's your hint. Go find more ghosts. So I've got like 8 of these ghosts that we can hide all around the yard.
Nice.
And have people go on a ghost hunt, exploring the estate, seeing everything that we've set up, and giving them something interactive to do, even though we don't have a haunt for them to walk through.
But we're still giving that. And see, you say that we don't have a haunt, but I would say that we do have a haunt. It's just not your typical
It's not a
walkthrough.
walkthrough.
It's not a walkthrough.
We don't have a walkthrough, but we will be setting up a haunt. And this, I think, will give us something more entertaining beyond just, hey, look at all the cool decorations and effects and all of and listen to the stories. Exactly. And I think it fits so perfectly with our theme this year, the haunted estate. We have ghosts all around the estate. Go on a ghost hunt, find some ghosts.
And there'll be a mix of the game ghosts, and there'll be a mix of our story ghosts.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
How many story ghosts do you want? We have 4.
We have 4 already. I would love to add at least a couple more. Okay. I intend to throw in a few other ghosts in there as well. Okay. That are not necessary, and they may not end up being inside the crypt. They may just appear in other places. But like HalloFX showed a teaser of a ghost that they are working on right now, and I've talked about HalloFX before on the podcast. They are one of my favorite companies for creating digital effects, because most of the effects that they create are very inexpensive relative to many of the others. Mm-hmm. And check out who they are working on.
Oh.
It is the Hatbox Ghost from Disney's Haunted Mansion. It's not actually because it is not licensed by Disney.
But it's the
Hatbox Ghost. He's one of my favorite characters out of the Haunted Mansion. I freaking love him. He is going to appear somewhere on our haunt.
Yes, that's awesome. Yeah, my coworkers actually just spent the week at Disney World.
Yeah,
with her kids, and I was like, you need to do 2 things for me. You need to ride Splash Mountain, and you need to ride the Haunted Mansion.
Yes. So hallofx.com if you want to learn more, if you want to check out any of their effects. They're a super cool company. Love them. Go buy from them because it's cool stuff. And I'm very excited about the Hatbox Ghost. So let's kind of sketch out what our layout is going to look like. And I mean, do this like super easy, just so that I have an idea of what I need to build here over the next, couple of months. Okay, so there's the generic layout of the estate. Ish.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yep. We have our driveway. There's the house. Over here is the big open field I was talking about. I should probably put the playground in because it's an obstacle. It's as big as the house, apparently. Its drawing is not to scale.
Now, come on. You're telling me you aren't drawing to scale.
Playground. Okay, so that's kind of what we have to work with. We have the house, we have a garden up by the street. There's a little copse of trees. That's what these random circles are over here. And then we have the playground. So what I kind of want to do is just sketch out where we want to put things. So first and foremost, we will have the crypt right here. Crypt and graveyard. Okay, so we have the crypt and graveyard up there. And then what else have we talked about already?
Places that we need to put the ghost game ghosts.
Yeah, let's see where everything else is going to end up first, and then we'll litter ghosts in around it.
Okay. So if
Um,
we do 3 or 4 of our ghosts in the crypt, our storyline ghosts, then let's say 2 somewhere else on the property.
yeah. So over here, we can do chicken wire ghosts in our big dark spot.
Uh-huh.
And that's something that will need to get built. Okay, so we have chicken wire ghosts in the field over here. I still want to do a pumpkin patch
Okay.
with the singing jack o' lanterns. This copse of trees over here
Uh-huh.
is another fairly dark spot, so we could probably put another Hallusion ghost over there,
Okay. Yeah, I think that'd be a good place for one.
and that's close to the street,
Uh-huh.
so people will be able to see it. I know this is super exciting for all of you listeners who cannot see this as we're creating it, but if you go check out our social media, I will definitely put up a picture so you can see it afterwards.
Remember, it's not to scale.
It's not to scale. Okay, we've got the big.
Otherwise, the chicken wire ghosts would be much bigger than the house.
Indeed. And really, what I'm saying is the chicken wire ghosts are over this whole area over here. The playground is almost as big as the house.
I know, that's funny.
Speaking of which, inside the house, we're going to want to put some ghosts in the window.
Yep.
Ghost projections in windows. And then what else? So we got the pumpkin patch. We got our chicken wire ghosts. I'll probably do something with the playground. Like in the past, I've done like skeletons playing on the playground.
Yeah.
And I think that is still in keeping with our theme, and it makes for a pretty good photo op for people coming to visit.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Although speaking of photo ops, one of the most popular has always been the arches.
Yep.
Or the arch, the Sanguine Creek Estates arch, which I don't have anymore.
Right, because it blew over and you threw it away.
I didn't throw it away. I gave it away.
Well,
I hope someone else is making use of it. So that is going to have to get rebuilt. Okay. We've got this big old hill right here that I feel like we need to do something with it. That was the exit for us last time. And I had extended the graveyard into that last time. Just that people were, walking out through the graveyard.
I definitely think graveyard, definitely with some of the hide and go seeky ghosts. Maybe.
I'm concerned about people walking in there because it's a fairly steep hill.
Yeah.
And so whatever it is, people will be blocked out of it.
Things.
Yep.
Yeah.
We can certainly put a ghost like on the perimeter. But like the well is up there. There's an old stump up there. Too many tripping hazards.
Got it.
Ooh, wait. The well is up there. I wonder if I could do something around that to make it less, trippy hazard. I've had the thought for a couple of years about like building a fake well that looks like what you think a well looks like and putting it around that and then having something like come up out of the well.
Yeah.
I think that'd be
good. Yeah, have a ghost or something come up out of the well.
I think this is a good start for our layout. And then we can, as we go, we potentially add to it.
Or subtract, depending on when your
Or subtract, depending on how things go. Yeah, exactly. So based on this, like big things, I need to get the crypt out of storage. And by storage, I mean underneath the deck, and see if it's been damaged in the last 2 years and if it's ready to set up again. Because there's a reasonable chance it's going to need some repair. So fix the crypt is going to be big. I need to build a new archway. And I would love to have a sign for Sanguine Creek Estates that like on the road level sign. I've seen people do some very cool, like gothic looking signs using old headboards from beds. If I could find a headboard, I would love to do that because I just think it turns out so freaking cool.
I mean, if you want to come pick up
I'm not picking up a headboard from Colorado. That the opportunity for that has passed.
I
did that drive twice this year. I'd be happy
to get rid of them. They're antique.
You should have said that when I was there. But you were in freaking Denmark.
I was in Denmark. And it was so lovely. It was so nice.
So repair the crypt, build the archway, potentially SCE sign, chicken wire ghosts. Well, those are the 5 big builds.
Yep.
If any of those fall off, it's going to be the well. And then we'll have to do some I'm going to say minor builds if I want to do a standalone hallusion. Actually, if I just stretch it between the trees up there, then that would get rid of the seams. Ooh, maybe I don't need to do. I'll have to play with that, see how far apart they are, and see if I have enough hallusion material to do that.
Yeah, because then you just have to put the projection up.
Yep, exactly. So I think we have the start of our plan.
Yep. And I have some ghosts to write.
You have some ghosts to write. So you're going to try to do 2 more backstory ghosts, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then when we get together for our next recording session, we can knock those out as well.
Okay, perfect.
Preferably 1 female, 1 male.
I can do that. Any particular era?
I'm going to leave that completely up to you. Different from what we've done already. Okay. So I think we have our plan for the next couple of months while we try to put this together. So, Les, you want to do a quick run through of our social media?
Really?
Give me a look.
Really? Since when have I ever been able to do our social media?
I will give a quick run through of our social media since you are so skilled at it. Definitely go check out our social media at facebook.com/hauntingyou, just the letter U. We're on Instagram at Haunting University and YouTube at Haunting You, again, just the letter U. Those are the places that we will be posting all of our builds and all of the content as we make our way to Halloween 2024. And of course, definitely go subscribe to the Haunting You podcast so you can follow along as we're putting out more episodes through our planning process, as well as a whole bunch of other topics as we find time and are able to do so. But you can subscribe on any podcast app. We recommend Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, but Pandora. But really, seriously, anywhere that you can find podcasts, you can find the Haunting You podcast. And check out our website, hauntingyou.com, to learn more about all of the resources that we talked about here today. Okay. I think that wraps us up. Les?
I think it does.
Take us out.
All right. From all of us here at Haunting You, thank you for listening and happy haunting.
We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
We are incredibly grateful to all the sponsors who make this show possible, especially our premium sponsors, the Chamber of Haunters, Fear Expo, and VFX. You can learn more about our premium sponsors by checking out their websites, chamberofhaunters.com, fearexpolive.com, and vfxcreates.com. Check out our website, Haunting You, for more information on everything that we do. Haunting You is a production of the Rocky Mountain Home Haunters, LLC. All audio clips and sound effects are used under a Creative Commons Attribution or Public Domain license from Purple Planet Music at purple-planet.com or the Sound Bible at soundbible.com. Please see the show notes for more information on all the clips used in this episode.